Okay, Alex? I want you to close your eyes and imagine the most terrifying, anxiety-inducing situation in the entire professional world.
Oh, no. That is a very broad category. Are we talking about a surprise financial audit? Or maybe accidentally replying reply all to a company? Wide email with a complaint about the coffee?
Those are bad. Yes. But I am talking about something much more personal. Something that happens in a quiet room, with one or two people looking directly at you, waiting for you to speak.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. The job interview.
Specifically, the very first question of the job interview. The question that sounds so simple, so friendly, but is actually a complete and total trap.
Why is there a gap in your resume?
No, even worse. So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Groans loudly. Oh, that is the absolute worst. That is the most dangerous question in the English language.
Why is it so dangerous? It sounds so harmless. Tell me about yourself. It is basically an invitation to chat.
It is not an invitation, Sophia. It is a test. It is a test of your ability to summarize your entire existence, your professional value, and your personality into exactly 2 minutes. Without sounding like a robot, but also without sounding like you're oversharing.
I completely understand that. It is the ultimate open-ended question. And for language learners, it is a nightmare because you do not know where the boundary is.
Exactly. In my native language, I know the rhythm. I know that I should talk about my current job, my background, and maybe one hobby. But in English, when I get nervous, my brain just deletes all professional boundaries.
Oh, I have a feeling you have a very specific story about this. Do not hold out on me.
I was hoping we would skip this part, but I know how this podcast works. Okay, fine. It was about 3 years ago. I was interviewing for a senior developer position at a very prestigious tech company. I had practiced my answers. I had researched the company. I was ready.
I love this. You went in prepared.
I did. I sat down in the glass, walled meeting room. The hiring manager, a very friendly woman named Sarah, smiled at me, looked at my resume, and then looked up and said, "So, Alex, tell me a little bit about yourself."
The trap is sprung.
Yes. And my brain just short-circuited. I knew I was supposed to talk about my professional experience, but the word yourself triggered something deep in my brain. I thought, okay, she wants to know about me, the real me.
Oh no,
So I took a deep breath, and I said, well, I was born in a small town near the mountains. I have one brother, and we grew up with a very energetic golden retriever named Max. Max loved to chase tennis balls, which taught me the value of persistence.
bursts into laughter. You told the hiring manager about your childhood dog?
I did. I talked about the dog for a full minute. I explained how the dog taught me about teamwork and persistence. And then I finally transitioned to, and that is why I am a good software engineer.
I am losing my mind. I am actually crying. What did Sarah's face do?
She was staring at me with this mixture of deep confusion and polite horror. She blinked slowly, looked down at my resume, and said, "That is a very unique perspective. Alex, let's talk about your experience with Python."
A very unique perspective. That is corporate speak for what on earth are you talking about?
Exactly. I wanted the glass walls of the meeting room to shatter and swallow me whole. I spent the rest of the interview sweating, convinced that I had just blown my chance because I could not figure out how to answer a simple question.
Okay. First of all, that is a hilarious story. Second of all, I promise you, Sarah probably tells that story to her friends. I had a guy tell me about his golden retriever's tennis ball persistence.
I know, it is humiliating, but it highlights a real problem. When we are put on the spot in a second language, we panic, and we revert to the most basic, literal interpretation of the words. Tell me about yourself equals tell me my life story.
That is completely normal. And it is exactly why we need to build a job interview toolkit. Because when you are in that high-stakes environment, you do not have the mental energy to invent a structure on the fly. You need a formula.
Please, give me the formula. How do I answer that question without mentioning my childhood pets?
Okay. The most natural B2 level framework for tell me about yourself is the present, past, future model. It is simple. It is professional. And it keeps you perfectly on track.
Present, past, future. Okay, I am listening.
First, the present. You start with who you are right now and what you do. Currently, I am a software developer with 5 years of experience, specializing in back-end systems.
That is very clear. No dogs involved.
Exactly. Then, the past. You briefly mention how you got here, or a key achievement. Before this, I worked at a startup where I led a team that improved system efficiency by 20%.
Okay, that sounds very professional. And the future?
The future is where you connect your goals to the company you are interviewing with. And now, I am looking to bring my expertise in scalable systems to a larger team, which is why I am so excited about this opportunity at your company.
Wow, that is so structured. It is like a mathematical equation for a perfect answer.
It is, and the beauty of it is, it takes exactly 60 to 90 seconds. It answers the question. It highlights your value. And it smoothly hands the conversation back to the interviewer.
I love this. Present, past, future. I am going to write that on a sticky note and put it on my computer monitor.
Please do. Now, this connects perfectly to another concept you hear a lot in interviews: the elevator pitch.
Ah, yes, the elevator pitch. I have heard this term, but I have always been slightly confused by it.
How so?
Well, the first time my career coach told me I needed an elevator pitch, I literally asked him, "Do I need to know the dimensions of the elevator? What if I get stuck between floors?"
Laughs uncontrollably. Oh, Alex? No, you thought it was a literal elevator?
I did. I thought it was a very specific, high pressure scenario where you are trapped in a small metal box with the CEO. and you have exactly 30 seconds to convince them not to fire you before the doors open.
I mean, that is not entirely wrong. That is exactly where the metaphor comes from. But in reality, an elevator pitch is just a short, persuasive speech that you can use to spark interest in who you are and what you do. It does not require an actual elevator.
That is a huge relief. I was practicing my speech while standing in my actual elevator, timing it with my phone. My neighbors probably thought I was having a mental breakdown.
Laughing well. You are not entirely wrong about the timing. An elevator pitch should be about 30 to 60 seconds. It is basically a condensed version of that present, past, future formula.
Okay, so if I'm at a networking event and someone says, "So, what do you do?" I can just use my elevator pitch.
Exactly. But be careful, because when learners try to sound impressive in an elevator pitch, they often grab the wrong corporate idioms.
Oh, I know this is a trap. What did I do wrong this time?
Tell me your best attempt at an elevator pitch. Let us hear it.
Okay. Clears throat. Stands up a little straighter. Hi, I'm Alex. I am a very dedicated professional. I always work hard, and I am a team player who is not afraid to wear many shoes. I also like to think outside the room to solve problems.
Wear many shoes. And think outside the room.
Yes,
Alex? No.
I said it with total, confident seriousness. I wear many shoes.
I am losing my mind. I am actually wheezing. What is wrong with wearing many shoes?
I thought it meant I am versatile, like I can wear running shoes for running and dress shoes for meetings. I am ready for anything.
Wiping away tears. Oh! Alex. The idiom is wear many hats. It means you have many different roles or responsibilities. Not shoes? Shoes are for your feet. Hats are for your head, representing different roles.
Hats, not shoes. Okay. And what about thinking outside the room?
It is thinking outside the box. It means being creative and not limited by traditional rules.
But a box is so small. A room is much more logical. If you think outside the room, you are really thinking big.
Laughing logically. You are not wrong, but idiomatically. You sound like you are trapped in a building. I like to think outside the room sounds like you're trying to escape.
I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me whole. My career coach just stared at me and said, "Alex, let us stick to I have a lot of diverse experience."
He was trying to save you, and he was right. When you are unsure of an idiom, the safest, most professional choice is always plain, clear English. I have a lot of diverse experience is 100 times better than I wear many shoes.
That is a very good lesson. Plain, clear English. No footwear metaphors.
Exactly. Now, since we are on the topic of job interviews and the pressure of sounding professional, I want to try something with you. A little role play.
Oh no. I knew this was coming. My heart rate is already doing the corporate jitterbug.
It will be fun. I promise. And it is great practice. I am going to be the hiring manager. Sarah, you are in the interview. I'm going to ask you the dreaded question. And you are going to use the present, past, future formula? No dogs. No shoes. No rooms. Ready?
Okay. I am ready. I have my formula. Present, past, future.
Great. Shifts posture. Adopts a warm, professional, slightly brisk voice. My smarm, hi Alex. It is so great to meet you. I have reviewed your resume, and your background looks very interesting. But before we dive into the technical questions, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Takes a deep breath. Speaks clearly. Thank you, Sarah. Currently, I am a software developer with 5 years of experience, specializing in building scalable back-end systems. In the past, I worked at a tech startup where I led a small team that improved our database efficiency by 20%. And in the future, I'm looking to bring my expertise to a larger, more established company like yours, where I can continue to grow and tackle complex challenges.
Breaks character? Smiling widely. Oh, Alex, that was absolutely flawless.
Really? It felt a little bit like reading from a script, but it flowed well.
It flowed perfectly because the structure does the heavy lifting for you. You did not panic. You did not mention Max the golden retriever. You sounded like a highly competent, articulate professional.
It feels much safer to have a framework like that. When I'm nervous, my brain wants to just start talking and hope for the best.
And that is when the dogs come out. The framework keeps you anchored. But Alex, I want to pause for a second and talk about the emotional side of this. Because I know that for many language learners, job interviews in a second language can trigger a deep sense of imposter syndrome.
Oh, absolutely. It is the ultimate vulnerability. You are sitting there, and you already doubt your language skills. And then someone in a position of power is evaluating your competence. It is so easy to think. They do not think I am smart enough. They just think I am the foreign guy who tries hard but makes weird mistakes.
I hear this so often. And I want to challenge that thought right now. Alex, you are highly intelligent. You solve complex technical problems every day. The fact that you are doing it in a second language does not make you less competent. It makes you incredibly resilient and adaptable.
It is hard to remember that in the moment. When an interviewer uses a fast, idiomatic phrase, and I miss it, I feel like I'm failing the entire interview.
But you're not failing. You're translating two things simultaneously: the actual technical work and the cultural subtext of the workplace. That is double the cognitive load. Any native speaker would struggle if they had to do that in a foreign language.
That is a really nice way to look at it. I usually just blame my vocabulary.
Your vocabulary is fine. The corporate world's vocabulary is just unnecessarily complicated. You are not the one with the communication problem. The jargon is. And honestly, many companies today actively value bilingual candidates because it shows you can navigate different perspectives and communicate with diverse teams.
Bilingualism is a superpower, not a deficit. I am going to write that on a sticky note and put it right next to the present, past, future note.
Please do. Now, to wrap up our interview survival guide, I want to do a quick rapid fire game. I'm going to give you a classic, tricky interview question. And you're going to give me your immediate, natural, professional response. No overthinking.
Okay. My shoes are off, my dogs are at home, and my brain is ready. Hit me.
Question 1. What is your greatest weakness?
I would say, sometimes I can get too focused on the small details of a project, but I have been actively learning to step back and look at the big picture to ensure I meet deadlines.
Perfect. That is the classic strength disguised as a weakness answer. But you made it sound genuine by adding the actively learning part. Question 2. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I would say, I see myself growing into a leadership role where I can mentor junior developers and help drive the technical strategy of the team.
Excellent. Ambitious, but realistic, and tied to the company's growth. Question 3. Why should we hire you over the other candidates?
I would say, because I bring a unique combination of technical expertise and the ability to adapt quickly to new challenges, which I have proven in my past roles. I am ready to hit the ground running.
Hit the ground running. Yes, a perfect, natural idiom used correctly. You are absolutely nailing this. Alex,
It is actually kind of fun when you have the right tools. It takes the fear away.
that is the goal. When you can approach an interview with a clear strategy, it stops being an interrogation and starts being a conversation about how you can solve their problems.
I feel so much more confident about my next interview. I will not tell them about my childhood. I will just give them my present, past, and future.
That is the perfect takeaway. Present, past, future, and no childhood pets. You are going to do great. Alex,
Thank you, Sophia. I really needed this today. I have an actual interview next week, and I was dreading the tell me about yourself question. Now I feel like I have a strategy.
you absolutely have a strategy. And remember, if they ask if you can wear many hats, just picture a closet full of different hats. Do not mention your shoes.
Laughs, I will picture the hats, and I will definitely not ask if the office has a good elevator for my pitch.
Please do not. All right, everyone. That is going to do it for today's episode. If you have a job interview coming up, or if you just struggle with the tell me about yourself question, remember this? Use the present, past, future formula. Keep it professional. And give yourself credit for the incredible work you're doing in a second language.
And if anyone asks you to think outside the box, just remember, do not accidentally tell them you prefer to think outside the room.
Exactly. We will see you all next time. Good luck with your interviews. And bye, Alex.
Bye, Sophia.